Anyway, when I came into Mike's class, he was really an inspiring teacher like so many other Brockport faculty are. And he was energetic, enlightening, enthusiastic about the subject matter. And so instead of thinking just about, some other different kind of career like law, as I mentioned, by golly, after I had his class, it was political science and the U.S. Congress for me. So thank you, Mike. Thank you all the other Brockport faculty who took young students coming to this campus, opened their intellectual horizons, taught them about new ideas, motivated us, given our array of societal difficulties and problems, to be engaged in our community, to care about it, and do what we could to change things in big or small ways for the better. So I don't want to embarrass Mike, but he's over there. So Mike, I want to acknowledge you, ask you to stand up, because this is an extraordinary mentor who's had an impact on literally hundreds and hundreds of students. Mike Weaver. He didn't know I was going to do that either. Lesson number 2. And this was imparted to me by my high school football coach, Charlie Young. And as indicated by President Halstead, I come from Little Falls, New York, a small place. In fact, we only had 55 students in my graduating class. So even a puny little guy like me could play football and all the sports. Of course, we were perennial losers. But I have to assure you that over the years, Coach Young always had the message, never quit and never give up. And I gotta tell you, he delivered it in quite an aggressive manner, over and over and over again. And never quit, never give up, because good things can happen if you keep pursuing what it is you want to achieve. And sure enough, at least in our senior year, we did have a winning football season. All of us, as we go through life, we have our ups and downs, we have our peaks and valleys, and we just have to accommodate or overcome them. Nothing is permanent. If you're low, by golly, you can get up. And the message is, if you're down, get up. Brush yourself off, and start over again to try to achieve your goals and objectives, whatever they may be. And speaking of Charlie Young, this is something I would also recommend doing. I often talked about Charlie Young in the household with my wife Janet, who's here. And one time she said, well, why don't you call him and tell him about the impact he's had on your life? And I did. He was about in the late 80s, still, fortunately, had his faculties about him, remembered who I was. We had a good conversation. And about a year after that telephone call, he passed away. And so the point is, it's probably a good idea for all of us, to thank those people who have helped us along the way before we lose that chance forever. Lesson number 3, which is not unique to me, which I try to impart to my 2 grown sons, is try to find something that you like, that you really love to do, both vocation and avocation, whatever that may be. Sure, a professor, teacher of some sort, janitor, architect, whatever, plumber, something that you really love and want to do, so when you wake up in the morning, you look forward to going to the job or the tasks that are at hand. And if you don't have that kind of job, then by golly, keep searching, reinvent yourself if you must to get that kind of a position. Because if you can get that kind of position, you will never have to work a day in your life. To wrap up, a few concluding thoughts. To repeat a few things, I guess. Aim high, right? Aim high. Stay engaged. You know, never quit. And remember, life is just about not making money, although we don't want to discount the value of that, all right? It's important. But the real important thing is to be able to make a difference to your family, your community, your country, to yourself, or to the job or profession that you're in or you want to aspire to. And I ran across a story, which I'm going to read because it's a brief story. And I read about it, and it really made this point in a powerful way about making a difference. And I'll give you the scene. Just picture a household, some neighbors are around, and one of the neighbors is a hugely wealthy individual. And around the table are also a couple of teachers, as well as some other neighbors. So the wealthy man says, this old saw that many teachers have heard over the years and decades, you know, those who can do and those who can't teach. And because the wealthy individual knew that a couple of these people were teachers, he said to one of them, "Hey, Mary, what do you make? What do you make? Be honest. Tell us what you make." And she was sort of taken aback, but she gathered her thoughts, and this is what she had to say, and I will read. You know what I want to, you want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. And I make kids sit through 40 minutes of study hall in absolute silence. I can feel a C, make a C feel like the Congressional Medal of Honor, and an A feel like a slap in the face if the student didn't do his or her very best. I can make parents tremble when I call home, or feel almost like they won the lottery when I tell them how well their child is progressing. You want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them read, read, read. I make them show all their work in math and hide it all on their final drafts in English. I make them understand that if you have the brains, then follow your heart. And if someone tries to judge you by what you make in money, you pay them no attention. You want to know what I make? I make a difference. What do you make? And that was... So, class of 2010, each of you, go out and make a difference, have fun along the way, and of course, congratulations. Thank you.